Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony. Welcome to another edition of BNA Sports Talk. And today, I'm not gonna lie, let's just say I'm 21 now. Let's just say that. But yeah, today I want to record a little bit of a video talking about the future of some teams in this league, because that's ultimately what really intrigues me. In the beginning of the season, I feel like I did a pretty good job and dissecting a lot of the teams this year. I was off the Broncos. I was barely off the Raiders. We'll see how they do, but I feel like I was pretty good dissecting the teams this year. I was pretty proud of my analysis of a lot of teams this year. And obviously there's a lot left to be written, but I want to talk about Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns. So I think that as far as Baker Mayfield, he has enough talent, and what ultimately happens sometimes is that the other quarterbacks, the people that you're surrounded with, if they're better than you, you ultimately seem like the worst guy. If you're the fourth or third best quarterback in your division, the team is going to move off you. Eli Manning, he discerned himself from the NFC East. He's like, you know what? I'm one of the top quarterbacks in the league, if not even the NFC East. If you're losing to your constituents, all of a sudden you're going to fail. Eli Manning all of a sudden started failing in division. He was awful for his past couple years, and it wasn't really working out that well. And I think that's because Eli Manning was getting a little bit older, and he couldn't quite overcome, and a bunch of teams knew how to prepare for him, and he couldn't quite overcome the stress and the game planning of some other teams. Now with Baker Mayfield, you have Lamar Jackson, you have Ben Roethlisberger, who is going to retire in probably this year. This is probably the last year for him. But then you also have Joe Burrow. So now you're situated as the fourth best quarterback in your division. You're ultimately graded by your constituents. You're ultimately graded on, how good you look amongst other people. And I think that Baker Mayfield could eventually just be the odd man out here. He's the first overall pick, so obviously you give him a little bit more credence. But Jameis Winston was also the number one overall pick. We saw what happened with Tampa Bay. There were a bunch of old quarterbacks around this league. There's the Matt Staffords of the world. There's the Sam Darnolds of the world, that are going to be free because of, they'll be the top overall picks and they'll draft certain quarterbacks. So there are going to be a bunch of quarterbacks in the free agent market. There's going to be a bunch of guys. Cam Newton, he's going to be available soon. So if you're the Cleveland Browns, I think that you should be looking at some other certain quarterbacks. Now, obviously, you're not going to have Case Keenum. Case Keenum is just a backup guy. He's not the guy that you're looking for the long-term future. But you got to be aware of who you have. You got to be aware of your surroundings. And they've drafted fairly well over the past couple years. Their defense secondary has been getting a little hurt, kind of like the Atlanta Falcons, where it's like, I hear about you have a great secondary, you're drafting all these good people. When are they going to play? Besides Denzel Ward, there's nothing really to write home about that secondary. I know they have a good safety. I forget his name, but you don't really have a lot to write home about that secondary. You have a decent pass rush. You have Myles Garrett. You have Olivier Vernon, who signed a little bit of a cheaper contract, but we'll see. With the Cleveland Browns, I still think they're a 9-7 team this year. Let's not overreact. Let's stay calm. And Baker Mayfield, I think that he rides on his confidence. We saw when he's down, he really deliberately, he can turn it on. He can be a leader on the field. And I think what they're going to do this weekend is establish the run game. They're favored against Washington this week. I think they're going to cover the spread. I also think it's going to go under. I see this game being like a 24-7 game. And I also want to talk about the Washington football team. Because what do you do here? You have Dwayne Haskins. He's not throwing a bunch of turnovers, and it's not like an obvious decision, but I think you got to move off of him. I really do. Now, again, season's left to be played. There's still a lot of games left, and it would be irresponsible for me to say the Washington football team should just, draft Trevor Lawrence, even though I made a video about it saying, they're a high candidate to draft Trevor Lawrence. But the thing is about the Washington football team, they have a new coach. They have Scott Turner, he tried to transform Cam Newton. So he's just transforming a lot of different types of talent. Obviously, he's not North Turner. He's not his dad. But I think that he's very smart. He's able to develop quarterbacks, and he's going to want to have a project, a guy that, you bring in. And Dwayne Haskins, does he fit the bill? I don't think it's going to be Alex Smith. I don't think it's going to be Kyle Allen. The Washington football team doesn't have an offensive line now. They don't. Brandon Sheriff is out. Dylan Moses, I'm not trusting him. They got rid of Alec Flowers. They have nobody on their offensive line. They drafted a guy in the fourth round. I'm not sure if he's starting. I should have probably, put note of that. But, their offensive line is trash. It really is. And what Ron Rivera does well is, work with decent amount of talent and formulated a game plan for them to succeed. With Carolina, they always had talent. What do the Washington football team have now on offense? Do they have a lot of players like that? I'm not too sure. I am not too sure. Actually, I know. They only have a Terry McLaurin, Steven Sims, and, they'll show some flashes, but I think the Cleveland Browns are really going to rush them. I have a best bet this week. Cleveland, -7 against the Washington football team. Usually, when you have two bad teams, you just take the points and you say, Washington football team wins. But I think that the Cleveland Browns are turning a corner a little bit. They've had some extra time to prepare. I think Stefanski is a good coach. How do I know that? Because take a look at the Minnesota Vikings. Take a look at them. They're not really that good. And now Kevin Stefanski gets to really hone in his, playbook and establish himself as a dominant coach in this league. I don't think he's a top 10 coach, but I think he's really going to be able to establish himself this week. Ron Rivera, he's a decent coach. He is. But what does the Washington football team really have to fight for? They came out hot. They came out like, we're going to beat the Eagles. We have a little bit of a bravado here. I don't think they have much to fight for this week. You take a look at the Cleveland Browns. They need this game. They usually play well against the bad teams. They suck against the great teams. So I'm picking the Cleveland Browns +7 this week. It'd be interesting to see what the Cleveland Browns do with a Baker Mayfield. I think they are going to sign him. They are going to extend him on that 5th-year option. I don't think it's going to be quite like a Mitch Trubisky. I think that you're going to win a little bit with Baker Mayfield. They're going to have a couple wins, and they're like, okay, it kind of works for the coach. I'm leaning towards a little bit of a contract extension here, but obviously there's a lot left to be told. But his contract is up soon. Deshaun Watson, he signed a 4-year extension. That's going to be him next year. How much money is he going to get paid? I think that he doesn't really have a lot of ego, so I think he's going to take a little bit less. I think that he's going to take around like a $25 or $26 million contract because he's so... He's not like selfless, but he's not selfish in a way. I think that, he on the field he has some bravado, but he realizes who he is. I think he knows his spot, who he is, and I think that works well for him. I think he knows he's a flamboyant guy that's not really that great, and he needs pieces to surround him. And if he realizes that can make him succeed because he surrounds himself with more talent, I think that could work. He's going to see himself. It's offensive line. Protects him a little bit. And, they have the Noah's Ark of talent. 2 offensive linemen, left tackles, right tackle. Then you have 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. And I think that's really going to work out for him. And he realizes, I want to be the leader of this team. I want to get paid. But, in the end, it's all about team. And I think Cleveland Browns go 9-7, and they win this week. So best bet, Cleveland Browns again. -7 against the Redskins, under 45 points. Cleveland Browns win 24-7. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.